Hey, everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
And welcome to the end of Mythology Month. The time is here, the end is nigh. We have finally seen the Odyssey, the Chris Nolan epic that we've been. It was on. I think it was. I don't know where, but I think we were all anticipating it. It was on all of our anticipated lists. So this is a big movie.
I feel like they had this massive trailer that came out like a year to the day that this movie was going to be released, if I'm not mistaken, or it was very close, or something like that.
Yes, because tickets went on sale a year before release.
Okay.
At least for a lot of those 70mm screenings.
Yeah.
They went on sale. Now, let me just go ahead and disappoint everyone right now. None of us got to see the 70mm print because we are in Oklahoma where there are none. I did find out though, the last 70mm projector in Tulsa was at the Tulsa Cinemark.
Oh,
and they got rid of it around 2012.
Oh,
right before the IMAX boom.
See, I believe what I read. The last 70mm print was that played there was The Dark Knight Rises.
Bummer. Was it a maintenance thing or a cost issue?
I mean, my understanding is that it was that was the time frame, about really 2010 to 2012 ish, where all the theater chains were getting rid of their film projectors and they were replacing them with digital projectors.
I see. Yeah.
And because they were like, well, this is better. And now we've come back around to being like, well, actually, we kind of like movies on film.
You ought to just keep one.
And it is a specialized skill. So
it is a specialized skill.
It is difficult to hire for that.
Yes, there's so many. If you guys haven't seen them yet, it's not hard to find. There's so many videos on social media right now explaining kind of not just the IMAX process, but the Odyssey process and how like the film one into another is 11 miles long, give or take. It weighs like 800 pounds in all of its separate containers together.
Dang,
and it's very expensive.
Weighs more than your mama.
Barely. To whoever's mama that is. But they're not. They're not nothing. Like they're very expensive, very large projectors, very large film. They don't. I can remember because this is back in my day of when I worked at the movie theaters. Felt like I had more inside knowledge than I do now, almost.
Sure.
They would not just anybody could go up and touch the IMAX. Not even like if you were a projectionist, that does not mean you could go touch the IMAX projector. Had to be handled very carefully. So I hope that they maybe can add some back. It would be nice if they took some of this big box office boon of 2026 we're having and reinvesting into some theater technology.
And I think it would eventually pay for itself. I mean, with the amount of you got at least 3 very prominent directors that are very big on the IMAX and the huge formats with Denny and Nolan and now Coogler, who's super on board with that now. So, could pay for itself here pretty soon.
Right. I have to think that, this was the Odyssey we're talking about today is the first movie filmed entirely with IMAX cameras. You wonder, like, will Nolan keep doing it? Is this just his norm now, or will any other directors also try to be like, well, now I'm going to do it? Yeah, we'll I don't know. I was going to say a Dune movie, but I think Dune's actually done with the 3.
If they make another Dune movie, they'll really be stretching for something.
But yeah, will Ryan Coogler, how much of Black Panther 3 will he film in IMAX cameras? Will he film any of it in IMAX cameras? Maybe. Could be cool.
I'd watch.
I think he did say that he's going to film it. It's going to be on film. Like he held up like the film stock.
That is very fresh news that we can just talk about off the top real quick. Yeah, Black Panther 3 was announced at Comic-Con over the weekend, officially, with Ryan Coogler returning to direct. And what's his name? David Johnson? Is that it?
Yeah, he was in The Long Walk.
Yes, has been cast to play T'Challa's adult son, and seemingly the new Black Panther, as he described it. So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
And Ryan Gosling cast as Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
taking over the helm from Nicolas Cage.
And who else but? I mean, it would either be Gosling or Powell at this point in time. I feel like those two make sense to take over. Especially, I feel like they can, I don't know, they seem like they're very Nick Cagey to me. They can pull it off.
Gosling's coming off a big year with Project Hail Mary. He does seem to have a...
Starfighter's coming out.
Starfighter's coming out. He does seem to have like in every other movie is a big hit for him. So maybe we'll see which one.
See, that's my thing is I'm wondering, like, I think it's interesting that Gosling is helming a Marvel movie and a Star Wars movie at a kind of precarious time for both of those IP that are trying to prove that they are still a big draw. And you've got Gosling now attached to two big. One is a reboot project, and the other is just the first new Star Wars material.
It's a lot of pressure on the guys.
In a long time on the big screen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
No pressure, Ryan.
He's proven himself, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm all for giving chances. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
All right, let's jump into the actual movie here that we're talking about, the Odyssey. Hopefully you guys have seen it by now. If not, that's okay. The story is 2,000 years old, so spoilers abound, and I don't really care. 3,000 maybe. I don't know. I don't know the exact timing. But it's very old, so like don't be surprised if we talk very openly about the plot points of this movie.
Yeah. Not just what happened, but how it happened.
But yeah, the Odyssey came out this year. David, why don't you hit us with some of the opening weekend and maybe second weekend box office stats, because it's had a huge splash.
Oh, absolutely. This movie's huge. It's opening weekend, July 17th through the 19th, 2026. $123 million opening weekend. That is the third highest open of the year. That is the biggest opening for a, let's say adult rating, for an R rating. The only movies that open bigger than this are Toy Story 5 and Super Mario Galaxy.
Hey, and this is an R-rated movie.
So this is a huge open for that. And then, I can run down the rest of the top five for that same weekend, but you have Moana, you have Toy Story 5, Minions and Monsters, and Evil Dead Burn. So you have some other options in there. Toy Story 5 still holding on strong there in week 5. But this was the movie of the weekend by no stretch. And then second weekend numbers, it drops just 27%, bringing in $90 million in its second weekend.
People want to see it twice, and then people go see it on the regular screen and go, man, I want to see that on the IMAX. That's exactly what's happening.
Yes. Oh, people seeing it in multiple formats. People who, obviously had, maybe they had to miss weekend one, but it is
weekend one had a lot of competition from the World Cup final happened.
Mm-hmm. True. Mm-hmm. So continue to do really well. Just to shout out a little stat here. That $90 million for weekend two. That is right now the 13th best second weekend for a movie making $100 million or more in its opening weekend. Other movies on that list are like Top Gun Maverick, the first Super Mario Brothers movie, Barbie, Inside Out 2, The Avengers, Jurassic World. Number one movie in that is Star Wars Episode 7, as you can imagine. That kind of dominates a ton of these type stats. But weekend two still going strong, $90 million. It's currently up to, let me make sure I got the number right here. It's currently up to $289 million in the United States and $362 million overseas, for a worldwide total of $652 million through its first 2 weekends. That is good enough to be the number, where's my year here? That's good enough to be the number 7 movie of the year worldwide right now. And it will very soon pass by some of these other movies that are on this list, including Project Hail Mary. For 2025 here in the U.S., it is the number 5. It's the number 3 movie already. 5 movie. Sorry, stumbling over myself. Number 5 movie already, just behind Super Mario and Toy Story 5. They usually see where it passes those in terms of domestic numbers, but worldwide, it should climb to over $1 billion, joining Toy Story 5. I believe is the only movies to cross. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael just crossed $1 billion as well. So it should reach up there into that category. So I won't drag on and on too much on that, but I will say that this is the second movie I think that we have will release from us for recording for 2026. And a big year for movies. And a year I don't think we're going to forget anytime soon.
No, probably not. Yeah, it's huge. It's going to be huge for the rest of summer, I think. All right, so the Odyssey has a huge cast. We've got Matt Damon as Odysseus. Anne Hathaway plays his wife Penelope. Tom Holland as Telemachus. Those might be all the names I remember.
Robert
but we also have John Leguizamo in a supporting role.
Mm-hmm. Johnny
Robert
Legs,
Pattinson, Johnny Legs. So first thoughts. What did you guys think when the first person on screen was Travis Scott?
I was super down.
Did that jolt you at all?
I had no idea who that was.
You didn't know it was Travis Scott?
I did not know that was Travis Scott.
It jolted me at first.
Out of a one-person lineup, I don't think.
Beautiful. See, I love that for you.
I'd heard about it. I'd heard about that ahead of time, so I was a little ready for that. Love whenever Nolan works with musicians or singers.
I liked
previously worked with David Bowie famously in The Prestige, and then also Harry Styles in Dunkirk. So I love whenever Nolan specific, but any director, whenever they go outside the acting world and find some talent to work with, it's always fun.
I think my main issue, again, and this is just a nitpick, but the massive cast that they have, while strong, amazing, it is kind of like, for some of them, Johnny Depp in Into the Woods. That's kind of what I felt, and I was like, all right. And Travis Scott, who apparently was in there, I forgot, but I didn't know that was him. But I feel like he falls in there for me. Yeah, he had a standalone moment, but like, you really gonna build Travis Scott for like what, 2 minutes?
Yeah. I don't know how much he got billed in the lead up, but yeah. I agree.
I think he was surprised to be in it as well.
I think it's some fun casting, and thankfully he was used appropriately. I never had to be like, why is Matt Damon talking to Travis Scott so much? That
absolutely. In the role that he was cast in, I mean, that person did a good job of commanding the screen and getting your attention and holding it too. And so it wasn't just the knocking on the thing. It was like, I'm interested in what they're saying. So yeah, excellent.
But there's a ton of actors that are like very fleeting. And you're thinking like these aren't like small names necessarily. You got like Corey Hawkins, Mia Goth, Logan Marshall Green is in here. Ryan Hurst, is not necessarily a big actor, but I kept waiting to like actually get a good look at his face because I kept thinking, is that Ryan Hurst? Is that Bertier from Remember the Titans? And I couldn't get a good look at it. And then you got like Benny Safdie's in this as Agamemnon, and you only get like a brief glimpse of his face. So. Yeah, I mean, and we didn't even mention like Zendaya, John Bernthal, Robert Pattinson, like
Elliot Page.
Elliot Page. They're all the big names in this. It's like everybody who's in this is somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would love to hear Garrett's kind of opening overall thoughts on the movie, because we talked about in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, you haven't really interfaced with the Odyssey story at all. So did this help you understand any bits of Oh Brother Where Art Thou any better? Or
yes, actually,
good.
I got what it was going for. I'm excited to go back and watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou, not just to watch it as a movie in general. Like, I don't really care. I think it is. Now it's just one of those things where I'll be like, oh, okay, I get that reference, and that'll be perfect, and that'll be good. I think that of the mythology movies that we've done, this has done the best job of telling the story in the way that I feel like it was meant to be told. I am no expert by any means of the text because I've not read it. But Troy, as we established, was basically not anywhere close to the Iliad. And I feel like Nolan really tried his best to bring the text to life. And the way that he shoots movies is so practical, and the way that he intends it to be. So I saw it first time on a regular screen, and I was like, this is amazing. But it's not like excelling the hype. Like everyone's so like blown away by it. And I'm like, this is incredible. And then I went to see it on an IMAX and I was like, oh shit. It made such a huge difference in the impact that it was delivered in. It felt larger than life on the screen. Everything was, again, practical, and we'll get into the movie making in a little bit, but like the scene with the giants, seeing some of the behind the scenes and how that was made, absolutely just movie making. And that's what this felt like. It was like, okay, it's easy to do this CGI, but how can I do this practically and make it feel so real? I mean, there were so many scenes of just a sunset on a water that was so breathtakingly beautiful that alone was better than so many other shots in movies that I can remember. So I feel like whatever he was trying to do, he far surpassed it, says my general movie critic brain.
What about you, David? What was your thoughts? How did you come into the movie? What did you feel?
This movie was legit.
Too legit to quit.
This was by far the most awesome thing that I've seen this year. And look, I think that going into the movie, my things that I wondered about was how would he bring, the mysticism or the, the fantasy aspects of this to life. And I kind of was pretty sure that he kind of wouldn't, just kind of knowing Nolan's style. It's a very, I don't want to say realistic, but there's a realism to it. And look, there are going to be those, there are classists out there that are going to talk about what is completely wrong with this. And they're going to talk about how, like the spirit of the story. But the thing is, as an adaptation of the Odyssey and what Nolan himself had to say to put into it, which I really want to talk about the main takeaway, but by the end, but I just thought everything about this was so great. And that's not even talking about, the movie making aspect of it. The incredible, tangibility of everything that happens in this movie. Even the stuff, even the stuff that is like, where he hides his visual effects. There are some places where that is happening, but like he's so good at doing so much in camera that your brain turns off your ability to look for that. Whereas in other films that might be so in your face all the time that it's just easy to see. I thought that as an adaptation, this was fantastic. And I thought that we may never get that version of the Odyssey that clearly some people out there want, which is like a 1-to-1 perfect, like objective adaptation. I mean, here's the thing.
Like the idea of a adaptation of his story wouldn't just like terrify Homer. He would look at a movie and burst into flames. And they're arguing about accuracy.
Yeah, the thing is, there is no such thing as an objective version of a story. Like everybody imagines things differently. Like there are versions of there's adaptation like the Lord of the Rings or the Harry Potter movies. So those have become sort of definitive, and they've kind of colored the way a lot of people imagine those characters to be, but they don't have to be. Your imagination, how you envision these characters, can vary pretty dramatically. And I think that he brought his version together. He had something he wanted to say through this. And even though it's not, 1-to-1 in terms of the literary accuracy, I thought that he put everything he does best into this. Whether it's way he shoots movies, the non-linear aspect of it, his cross-cutting, that thing he loves to do, where he's like showing, maybe, 4 different scenes while there's a conversation happening, like that sort of stuff. It's all great. So, I can't wait to watch this again. I'm in heavy debate on whether or not this is going to be my new number 1 Nolan movie. So that's where I am.
Dang, you think this could unseat The Prestige for you?
It might. I mean, I've watched The Prestige so many more times. I'd have to watch The Odyssey, I don't know, 30 more times before I make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to give our critics more ammo, but I just agree with what you guys said. It's so good. I love that freaking movie. It was a movie. It was fun. It was scary. Nolan horror movie win. I need it because Cersei was terrifying. The Cyclops was terrifying. I thought it was genuinely scary. Some funny moments I didn't expect. And my fear going into it was kind of my similar fear with Troy was that there's gonna be too much talking in a negative way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I was afraid I wouldn't get sucked into the story, and I did get very sucked into the story.
To compare it, well, I think there's many comparisons you could make to his most recent film, but to compare it to Oppenheimer, what Nolan does that didn't happen with Troy. I feel like we're going to compare it a lot to Troy and Oppenheimer, but we talked about Oppenheimer. Troy just moved too slowly. Oppenheimer, this movie, he moves scene to scene so quickly. There's no lingering. Even those shots we were talking about, Garrett, with these beautiful, vistas and ocean views and
there's something happening over the top.
Yes, it's moving so quickly, and you're not, and it's
somebody's
not to say
talking
that,
over it, or it's in context with the scene, or there's movement. It's not just 45 seconds of silence over a scene.
And you can
and not a single Josh Groban song,
which strike, honestly.
But Travis Scott song at the end.
The Travis Scott song at the end.
Ludwig Göransson, Travis Scott getting in there together, I think.
I'm telling you, I don't know.
You mentioned the Cyclops, Josh, and I'm interested in about that scene because I thought it was executed really well. But I feel like that Cyclops didn't deserve any of that. That Cyclops,
you're not wrong.
That Cyclops was just a shepherd of a flock of sheep that he eats. They were trying to steal it. They broke into his home, and then they shot, and then they just burned him in the eye. Rude. Rude.
Yeah. No,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong from that perspective. They did just totally invade his space and go crazy.
It's the Jaws effect. My son has turned me onto this. He ate a couple of them, but Cyclops going to do what Cyclops going to do.
Right? He thought they were sheep.
He thought
and it's like the line in the movie. Why didn't he talk to us? Do you talk to ants?
Yeah.
No, you're nothing to him.
No.
Exactly.
Should we try to reason with him? I think we'll pass that now.
But that was I thought it was really a really cool part, and he had to not deserve it because again, my understanding of the story, how it originally goes, is this is one way that he pisses off Poseidon, and Poseidon curses the rest of their journey, which is also mentioned in the movie. But I feel like it's more implied that last arrow at the end is what really pissed off Poseidon when he had to get one more shot in.
Yeah, and this is one of the bigger differences. This is one I've seen a lot of people talking about, is that in the story, in the actual, in the many of the translations we have, and you can see this in the Armand Desanti 97 series. But one of the ways Odysseus tricks the Cyclops, who talks a lot more in those other iterations, it's kind of a dick, is that Odysseus leads by, he asks Odysseus what his name is, and he says, "Me, I'm nobody," and then he continues, and so the Cyclops just refers to him as nobody, and so when he gets blinded, he shouts out for Poseidon. He says, "Poseidon, nobody has blinded me," and it's kind of a joke. But then Odysseus yells out his name as they get away. That's his version of the arrow in most stories, is yelling back, "Oh, by the way, my name's Odysseus," and then Poseidon's like, "Oh, I got you." But I think this version, they didn't do that. And I thought that would be a problem for me because I'd kind of been told that happened. And it wasn't. It was cutting that aspect.
Could not begin to care.
I could feel the presence of the gods in how they talked and how the characters acted. And you can see, and those other gods, other than Athena, we don't really see any gods in this. But you can feel their presence. And the movie makes a big point of saying, the gods communicate in ways that, men just refuse to recognize often. But you can feel, the presence of Zeus and Poseidon and Hades in this movie. if you watch for it and if you're looking for it.
For sure. I think the gods are very clearly present. I don't think I need to see like a big burly Zeus throw a lightning bolt at the ground to see that they're real within this story, you know? Like he does Hamish Patel's character not literally say like, "Oh, great, now you've made Poseidon mad," basically. And then the rest of the journey is cursed. Like I thought it was evident that they're real. For the sake of the story anyway.
Let's pivot to the actors who brought these characters to life. Mr. Matt Damon giving the best Robin Hood performance since Carrie Elway's in Robin Hood Men in Tights, in my humble opinion. I mean, he was out there. He was in hella shape. First of all, let's talk about the guns on Matt Damon. Holy smokes. They jacked him up like I'd never seen before.
Yeah, he got pretty good shape for this.
He did. Look, nobody is better at being lost from home than Matt Damon. He knows how to be lost and he knows how to get home. That's what he does. And he does it very well once again as Odysseus. I don't know what I would have expected because there's not like a definitive Odysseus to me. I don't know. I know some people are tied to certain versions, but I didn't need him to live up to anything. But he was, I thought, did really well at being this like in the flashback scenes from the journey. He was always just cocky enough for me to buy what was going on, but also as his memories coming back to him with Calypso, I thought he did a good job of showing growth too. Like he was realizing things as he was remembering them. So I thought Damon killed it. Really good performance from him.
Yeah. I mean, two things I'll say about Damon is one, like you said, Josh, I think, you buy him as being sort of, you buy him as being like smart and kind of wry. Matt Damon also, like, I'm trying to remember, you guys saw the movie. You guys both saw the movie twice.
Yeah.
When he shoots that arrow at the Cyclops second time, does he kind of smile a little bit? I feel like I remember him doing it. See, Matt Damon has a smile that says, "I'm just going to F with this guy a little bit." Like that's just kind of like what his smile reads as is, "I'm just going to F with this guy a little bit."
It's like his smile said, "How do you like them apples?"
Exactly. But Matt Damon's whole, and I think this is something that Nolan does that is a very classic, from what I understand, a very classic Hollywood thing, is that, we all know about typecasting. He casts actors who elicit a response that he wants you to have to the character. And Matt Damon has kind of always, or for the most part, played characters that people want to root for. They want to see overcome or succeed at something. So like casting Matt Damon in that role, even though he's older now and he was able to kind of give off that level of like, he's kind of.
That's what makes him great for Odysseus.
He works. You believe him as having authority now too.
Yeah,
he's old enough to pull that
off. And because he's got a range of movies where he's been kind and he's been a good soul and he's been a heartwarming person, and then there's movies where he's been cunning and kind of sly, like he is in Ocean's 11. And then you've got movies where like. I don't know.
And then you've got, he's literally Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was trying to think of. Like he can kick your ass.
Which makes those arrow scenes extra badass.
Yes. And so in this, he brings the most well-rounded performance to a character because he gets to do all of it. He gets to be a young, cocky, but he's smart. He's never over arrogant. He is aware of what's going on. And I feel like, again, in this culture of like, toxic masculinity, if you will, like this is a man that people should look up to because he's fighting for the right things. He's trying to do the right things and he's continually making the tough decisions, not in better for himself, but to better his crew or do something that he thinks is better for the crew that he has and not always for himself. And he is believable whenever he's kicking your butt. And he leads with authority and fairness. And like those are the things and the qualities that, again, Matt Damon brings to that whole character.
Yeah. And this is definitely a very different take on Odysseus as a character. I think that in some ways he does remain complicated, but he's maybe less complicated than I think a more, I don't know what the right word would be, a more true-ish to the source, because we think of hero, like the term hero today is like superhero, like good guy. And when the Greeks said hero, it just kind of meant extraordinary person. And most of the time, extraordinary people in Greece, in Greek literature, were kind of a-holes. So
but that's reality. That's the problem that we live in now, is that there is no gray area. There's no it's either like good guy, bad guy, or anti-hero. It's not just regular human who is, or not even regular human, but hero who is complicated, because that is what they are.
And I think Damon and this version of Odysseus manages to walk that line of the guy's going to make some mistakes that are probably, or make some, have some decisions that are not necessarily honorable decisions. And I do want to dive more into those decisions.
That's the point of the whole damn journey that he's on, is to be atoning. He's atoning for those and sacrificing.
I know, in this version,
and that's how he gives up at the end, and he's able to get home because he atones fully and gives himself up by understanding fully what he has done.
Yeah, and that's what we get with this version that we don't necessarily always get. We don't really get an Odysseus who sort of considers the ramifications of his actions fully, who makes who does atone. I mean, most iterations, there's no real atonement. I mean, there's also this version of the Odyssey is kind of drawing in some elements from a couple other, from Ovid and Virgil and some other stories that aren't necessarily canon to the Odyssey specifically. But I think it all pays off in a way that tells a very rich story that deserves to be told in its own right. Do you want to talk about Anne Hathaway?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway's having a huge year. She's in 700 movies this year.
Mm-hmm.
Also showing her range. I mean, Devil Wears Prada 2 and the Odyssey. Very ends of the spectrum.
Again, not to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but I thought she was very good as Penelope. I fully believed her performance. When she yells at Telemachus, her son, "I want Odysseus!" I felt it in my soul.
Yep, just give her the Oscar for that, because that was felt it.
Oh no, it very much you watch movies. I watch movies all the time, and sometimes I don't know. You kind of get used to the rhythm of the scene, but she genuinely shocked me with how she just exploded at usually Telemachus, and it was I wasn't ready for it, and I think that if there's any nitpick there, it's I think they could have. I think Nolan could have told a little bit more of Penelope's story and how she's fended off these suitors for a few years.
I would have liked to have seen her ruling a little bit more, because that was the other part of that performance, where she was I've been sitting on the throne for 20 years, acting just because there's not a man on the throne that it was so freaking powerful, that moment too.
Yeah. And I think I could have gone. I mean, I hesitate to add more time to the movie, but I think that I think that's an aspect that I think you could have gotten more out of. Is just more Anne Hathaway. I think
I love the movie, but no more time. On that note, though, the first time I watched it, I really did not feel the 2 hour and 52-minute runtime.
No,
I did kind of feel it the second time, but I don't fully. It's not like the movie's fault, you know what I mean? I just saw it.
Yeah.
So there were moments where I was like, "This is taking a little longer than I thought."
Well,
but,
you know what to you know what comes next, and you know what's still left. When you watch it the first time, you're kind of I mean, even if you know the beats of the story, you don't necessarily know how it's gonna happen next.
Look, I need my large Coke Zero for movies, so I have no problem getting up and going to the bathroom. I didn't get up.
I didn't
and not even because I was holding it and I got away. I just never had to. It was
you were
great.
doing your best impression of the Greeks in the horse.
Oh my
just
God.
Hanging out in there pissing shit for
I don't know why I never considered that aspect before. But of course they had to piss and shit all over each other.
It makes so much sense. Holy smokes. That's
in your head, I feel like, I don't know, the way I remember it, because I haven't read a bunch of Odyssey stuff or watched a bunch. you always are like, oh yeah, so they got in the Trojan horse and they wheeled themselves over. They were in there for like 10 minutes.
They sat there and bench on
this
benches.
idea that they were like buried in the sand for God knows how long.
Well, and the way that they got dragged over to the city of Troy, I just don't know how long could that have taken to inch by inch drag that huge horse full of humans.
Yeah. And man, I hesitate to switch gears on this, but I think the horse design is mythic in its own way. Like it's entirely impractical to design the horse that way, but it has this magnificence that we hadn't gotten with previous ones. There's more practical ways that you could do it. The one in Troy, admittedly pretty practical way to build a giant wooden horse. There's previous iterations. I've seen countless memes of all the different horses over the last 2 weeks, but Nolan talked about he had this image in his mind since he first signed on to do Troy of the horse sinking in the sand and this big monolithic thing, kind of like a Planet of the Apes with the Statue of Liberty. Like that was what it was in his head. So he spent the last 20 years getting ready to put bring that image to life somewhere. Finally gets to here, and I think sold it for me.
Yeah, I thought that I feel like I remember saying in our Troy episode that I was hoping that they would talk more about the horse and the Trojan horse aspect, because that was something that I had connected with and I knew, and I don't have as much familiarity with like Greek mythology and these stories as you guys might. And so seeing all of that, and then that being the way that Matt Damon and Odysseus explained it at the end.
Yeah.
His full recollection of what he'd done.
Mm-hmm.
He brought this war to an end and outsmarted all of these, and he's getting praised for all of this, and he's seeing all of these innocent-ish, mostly people, just absolutely being killed, murdered in cold blood, in anger and rage. And that is why I feel like, again, the way that this movie was delivered, I don't care if it was 100% to the text. I care what the message is. And the message is that even if it is somebody's greatest feat, there's always something that they're holding with it. And this is like connected to soldiers that come back with PTSD, those things that they can't let go of, stuck in a loop for 7 years trying to forgive himself for this thing. It's trauma. It's tragic. It is self-awareness. And that's what he overcomes at the end. And so I don't really give a crap if it is one-to-one the same. The message delivery that they give and the performances that everybody gives. And, talk about some of the bigger name casts that we haven't really gotten into that are there because they're such good actors and they deliver on these. We could talk about Lupita Nyong'o, who doesn't get a ton of screen time. And
great example of someone who is like barely there, but has a great impact.
Yes, she has such a good impact because she is just beautiful. And you can see her as the face that launched 1,000 ships, knowing that history, and then seeing the aftermath of what happened to her because of what she did and how she's living with this and the sorrow that she feels. She delivers all of those moments. And then also being the twin sister and the stabbing of Agamemnon in the throat at the end and the torturous pain that you could feel and get across that scene. Like, it's incredible what they can do with so little time. And I will say, I was not a fan of their usage the first time I saw it on the regular screen. And I was kind of like, I feel like it's just one of those things, again, where you put Johnny Depp into the woods for 2 minutes and you get to say that they're in there. But watching it the second time on that big giant screen that it was meant to be shot on, I don't know, man, it just connected more. It could be because it was so huge and on my face that I felt like I was right there too. But like, it was incredible, the things, especially like Lupita could do with such little actual screen time, but delivering on her role.
No, 100%. Lupita and Elliot got more hate than they got screen time when it came down to it. And
so real.
Some of that is I some of that is, I think, to blame of the internet and the audience. Like, if I would have been shocked. I think I said it a few weeks ago on this podcast. I would have been shocked if Helena Troy was in more than 4 minutes of this movie, because she's not a big part of the Odyssey.
Yeah.
The Iliad, sure, maybe, but you're not going to get, a ton out of that. And I was shocked, even though the internet dummies thought that Elliot Page was going to be playing Achilles. Actually, they give an incredible performance as Sinon, a character's not in the Odyssey, but is in other stories, and ends up flipping that character on its head, because that character in, I think, Dante's Inferno is like held up as like the ultimate liar, because they told Troy that the Trojan horse was a gift. And this one, they have they think it is a gift. So their honesty and their sincerity gets them killed. And that's a big part of Odysseus's guilt, is getting this, young kid who grew up in the war, basically, killed because his sincerity was the key to their life working. And that is a devastating aspect of it. But, in these, fairly small, there are no small parts, right? In these fairly small parts, these two actors give fantastic performances.
Anything else? I feel like we're going to run long on this one, because it's a long movie and there's lots to say. But like, again, I wanted to talk about some of the practicality that Nolan brought to this. I talked briefly about the giants that they ran into. 7-foot human beings were in those suits, real life 7-foot human beings, and 5-foot tall women were the Greeks, to give you that real life
crazy
discrepant size, but like not CG. It is all practical for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's some CG that within
working with some forced perspective, working with some different things like that. I mean, it just.
But that to me is, again, you see movies like a puzzle. It in Nolan's brain and the way that he approaches it, it would be easy for me to CGI it, but how can I make it real? That's the hard part.
These days, I do think it is more impressive to figure out how to do it for real. My mind was blown when I found out that the pig transformation scene was largely practical effects too.
That's bonkers.
Nolan worked with a prop designer to come up with this sort of moldable animatronic faces. Those are like, Samantha Morton is really molding those faces. That's nuts. And when I'm watching it, it's funny. There's a clip going around of Tom Holland and Anne Hathaway talking about this, and when they found out about it. And Tom Holland says when he's watching it at the premiere, he goes, "Oh, so he must have used CGI." And he said he turned around to Chris and was like, "How did you do that?" And he was like, "Well, prosthetics." He was like, "What?"
Man,
and same for the Cyclops.
I didn't know that. That's
the Cyclops was a guy.
Yeah,
and it was forced perspective again.
Forced perspective. They
and
had
puppetry.
Little puppet
they
dolls.
built a big puppet.
They had a big puppet there on the set for, I think, frame of reference and for lighting cues and things like that. They had little puppet people that were edible that he was able to eat. Played by Bill Irwin, aka Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World. He was also in Interstellar. I should mention Bill Irwin. Want to also, like, the ship. It's a real ship that they're sailing around on, doing a lot of this filming. There's a great moment early on where they catch some dolphins just in camera. Just happen to swim by. Just happen to jump right in front of Matt Damon.
Boom.
Not looking for dolphins. Dolphins just jump.
There's a great, not to be too much of a shill, but there's a great 20-minute behind the scenes documentary on Peacock about the making of the Odyssey, and they talk a lot about this stuff. They talk to Matt about filming on the ships, that how they had to train. They used period authentic ships. There were no real engines in it. They said that the only engines they had were like lightly powered engines to help steer, but that they were rowing that friggin' thing. They had to train these stunt guys to row those boats just to make this movie.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what stuntmen are for. That's what stunt people are for, is to do that kind of stuff.
But that's the thing, is cool. They could have done it easily, and they didn't.
And I love every actor they talk. So the Himesh Patel, he was like, there's a scene where he gets briefly drowned, right? And he was like, so how are we going to do this? How are we going to pretend to do this? And they were like,
you'll drown.
Stick your head in the water. And he was like, what? No. Yeah. My favorite thing that could have been CGI is Matt Damon talked about this. He was a little bit irritated with Chris because Chris made him learn how to shoot real bow and arrows real quickly. He goes, Chris, I mean, it's easier to just CG the arrows. And Chris is like, I know, but I want you to do it.
And I respect that a lot because to me, like
it's not easy to knock these things really fast. That's difficult.
Yeah.
He goes,
but do you like making movies or not?
So Matt said that he would just watch TV for like in the 6 months he had for for before. He would just watch TV and he would just he had like his prop bow and arrow and he would just practice knocking. He goes, it's a great skill that I'll never use again, but I can do it. I knew I had to do like 6,000 hours of doing it before I would be able to do it that quick in a movie, because the IMAX camera too only shoots for 3 minutes at a time. So they got to get, and they can't, you can't waste film. So they got to get all those right on the first try if you can. I mean, they could.
This is the last like behind the scenes thing I want to repeat because it also, I didn't think about it at the time. Nolan says that part of the issue for so long with why he couldn't film a whole movie with IMAX cameras is because the camera themselves are too loud.
Yeah, they're super
for
loud.
intimate scenes.
Yeah.
They couldn't get rid of the sound of the camera. And so they've since been able to build basically an encasing to mute that sound enough. But I was like, damn, I didn't even think about
big is that encasing?
They showed it. They're still big. It's like a camera inside a big soundproof case that's going.
They're so big that the actors can't look each other in the eye. They have to use a mirror system so that they can shoot. So they can look at each other.
I need to watch it.
Cool.
You should. It's on Peacock. Definitely recommend it if you're at all interested in the behind the scenes of the Odyssey.
The last thing I want to talk about, I mean, performance for Samantha Morton, Charlize Theron, we didn't mention, is very good and also a kind of fleeting role at times. The last thing I really want to talk about, and Gary, you kind of mentioned this, want to know more about the Trojan horse. And I want to say this because I was actually very happy to see other people saying this because coming out of the movie, the sort of final message of what the Trojan horse represents was so like eye-opening to me, and what I mean, and I was so happy to see that other people felt the same way, that they were like, "Oh, so Garrett, for pretty much all of human history, and you're kind of getting to skip this part. For all of human history, the Trojan horse has been almost nothing more than a really clever strategy, like an idea that was simple. Of we're going to leave this horse, they'll think it's a gift." They'll bring us into the city walls. We'll sneak out. We'll open the gates. We'll flood. We'll beat Troy, right? It's become, it could be, you could consider in some ways it grows into the first meme. The idea of a Trojan horse just being this like clever way of getting around something.
I mean, it's been forever in my brain known as like a virus that you get on your computer.
Exactly. I mean, that's how it's existed, as this clever idea.
It sneaks onto your computer and then attacks it.
But Nolan reframes it as this, essentially this move that breaks the social contract of society. That up to this point, at least in Greek culture and in other cultures, there was this concept of if you meet a stranger, you should welcome them and treat them as you would want to be treated. Because I mean, essentially, in this day and age, if you walked like 2 hours out of where you lived, you're a stranger. You're at the mercy of strangers everywhere you go. And the idea that someone would take the concept of a gift, not just a gift to regular people, but a gift to the gods, and corrupt it to essentially win a war, is this fascinating sort of reimagining of what it is, and when you add that as an element of what Odysseus's guilt is, you can see the comparison to Oppenheimer of Odysseus is thinking, did I just destroy the world? Did I just open the floodgates for now no one? And that's what, when they go to all these islands, when they go into the Cyclops' cave, when they go to Circe's island, when they go to the Lystragonian giants, they're not met and welcomed. They are immediately repelled because any stranger could just be a Trojan horse. Any person who walks into your home might be just waiting to kill you. And I was just blown away. I mean, like, and I can't believe that.
Well, and
that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Well, and there are so many other moments like that, where the moment where Anne Hathaway realizes that the Greeks are the people of the sea that people are afraid of. Mm-hmm. That moment of having that realization is a similar moment that Matt Damon had. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're the ones that people are saying these terrifying stories about. It's us.
Mm-hmm. We are the baddies.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, to say that there's not, comparisons you could make to modern day with this as well is an understatement. Like, it is very much, I think, a version of the Odyssey written for our times, at least for the times of the 20th and 21st century. That's not so. Like, when I talk about it not being a perfect, like, literary 1-to-1, that's kind of what I mean. Is like, it takes the story and does something different with it in an amazing way. An adaptation is not just what you do. That's not just what you do right, but it's also what you do wrong and why you do it wrong. And if you have a great why, people will forgive the fact that it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes you can make a great change. And this is a great change. And like, obviously original stories will still be consumed. It's not going anywhere. But this was, I think, a really fascinating thing. Odysseus essentially invents lying. And there's another line that he says, which they had teed this up with how he hunts, which is that he, like, warns his prey before he shoots. He plucks his bow to warn the deer before he's gonna shoot. Gives and now instead of it turns from a hunt to a fight, and he talks about how he turned to Troy. It was no longer a fight; it was a hunt. As all those soldiers raged in and just killed innocents and soldiers alike. And that's how he encounters Zendaya, and Zendaya's, priestess character.
I also got to say, you mentioned the stranger and the Zeus's Law, and I got to say those suitors definitely were taking advantage of it. And I don't fully understand or think that I agree with the idea that because Odysseus killed all of them, that he has to be exiled. They were full on taking advantage of this family, and all of their stuff. Well, and there's got to be the line of, like, okay, listen, I understand Zeus's law, but you're taking advantage of the situation, and you've become no. I'm happy to help the actual beggars, but you all are just choosers to be beggars.
I think that Odysseus should have killed everyone in Ithaca as soon as he saw how Argus was treated.
Oh, for sure.
I think the whole town should have had to pay.
Mm-mm.
The whole kingdom
more Argus, frankly,
should fall for how Argus was treated in that movie.
Yes.
Nobody but Johnny Legs helped him out.
Oh, good man. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. We don't have enough time.
Come on and try it.
That's where you come in the book club for movies. Let us know what you thought about so many things in the comments and stuff. But,
so many things is a good spin-off idea. We just talk about whatever we want. So many things. Yes, please do. Yes. Let's go ahead. Let's do our final rating and review. Does everybody feel good about giving stars out for this movie?
Yeah, I do.
5 Trojan horses for me.
Mm-hmm. 5 for me as well.
Yeah, it's 5 stars.
5 for 5 deal, and so
and like, I know there's gonna be people out there that have their qualms and stuff, and I think it's totally fine to have them.
Yeah,
you can have whatever problems you want with the movie. For me, it's a 5-star film.
Yep.
All right, I've got here some of the most popular reviews on Letterboxd to hear from as we think about what the community has rated this movie. First off, we have 5 stars. Matt Damon trying to get back home now is officially a genre. And I agree. I think this makes it a genre at this point. I love it. 5 stars. I love how Odysseus turned into an ancient Greek John Wick after his dog's death.
He did. Yes, he did.
4.5 stars. This is going to be hard to say. Agamemnon was at the front gates of Troy moving like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That is the coolest Benny Safdie has and ever will look, probably.
I saw a thing that said that he is the highest grossing actor for 2026.
Yes, because he was in this and Super Mario Galaxy. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. There's a lot of those in this because, I mean,
there are.
You got Anne Hathaway. She's in $200 million movies. You got Tom Holland's about to be in another big one. So, and Zendaya. Zendaya's going to be by the end of the year.
True that. Couple more here. 4 stars. I hope Homer is happy with this film adaptation, and so is Marge. And then finally, 4.5 stars. R.I.P. Odysseus. You definitely would have loved Google Maps. All right. What do we think? How high on their supply is Letterboxd for the Odyssey?
Tough. It's tough when the movie's so new.
Exactly.
Let's see, Garrett, you're up first. You get first crack.
I think it's going to be in the 4s. I think I'm going to go with a 4.2. I think it's early. I think it's going to err on the higher side.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, I'll go even higher and I'll say 4.4.
I mean, then I'll do the low one because going higher than that seems crazy. So, no, I don't need to go that low. I'll just do 4.0. 4.0 is what I'll guess.
That leaves room for some. That leaves room for some tiebreaker points here.
It does. All right, the Odyssey. Oh, mama, we have a direct hit.
Oh,
it's good. We knew it was gonna be between like 4 and 4.8, so we had a good chance.
The direct hit this week goes to David. This is a 4.4 right now.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh man. The haters will drag that down, but
that's already with 2.2 million ratings.
This
is now, I believe Letterboxd said, the fastest movie to 1 million logs.
Wow.
And now it's at 2 million.
Letterboxd also popping off. For the love of God, don't sell it to Netflix, please. Don't do it. Just don't.
But look, if you are, please don't psych out and then sell it to Paramount.
That's fair.
No, sell it to somebody who loves movies.
Sell it to me. Yeah, sell it to us.
I got $5 I can give you.
You know what that means, boys, by the way? I'm looking at the stats here. It means that I won every week of Mythology Month.
Oh my God.
My goodness. We've had some sweeps. Are you in the lead now?
No, it's oh wait, actually, since that was a direct hit, you said?
It was a direct hit.
Hang on, so that's 2 points. I got it.
Don't cheap yourself.
I am now in the lead. Me 11, Josh 10, Garrett 6.
All right, I don't like that. Gotta fix that next week.
We got a race, boys.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us today. We gave you a nice extended discussion on the Odyssey, but go see it. It's so freaking good. I think we all agree on that at least. So the Odyssey's out in theaters now. Find us online at somanysequels.com. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Again, visit us, somanysequels.com. Instagram at somanysequelspod. Follow us there and let us know what you think about the
We're getting into our new month also.
We are getting into the month of August.
Yes. And I believe that we are going from the movie theater to the streaming theater.
We are. We are going to be talking about movies that are available to watch on streaming. Just catching up on some things. So
126 movies.
Yeah. It's kind of into summer.
What have we missed so far?
And a great time to stream movies at home while it seems like most of the country is 115 degrees.
Yeah. Stay inside, watch these movies.
Stay inside during those peak hours. Watch something in the cool. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.